Good morning, everybody. My name is Charlie Meier, and I serve as the Assistant Republican Leader and State Representative. I represent the 109th District, which includes portions of Bond, Clinton, Madison, St. Clair, and Washington counties. I'm here today along with my colleagues, State Rep. Katie Stewart, Dave Severin, to talk about the 14C workshops and workers throughout the state. We are here to protect the jobs of our residents with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We want to protect their choice, their job. Hence, my work, my choice on the shirts. These are many of our workers here today displaying our shirts. We are here today in opposition to legislation pending in the Illinois House of Representatives, House Bill 793, that would put at least 50% of the 14C workshop employees with developmental, intellectual disabilities, and service providers out of work throughout the state. You wonder how we come up with a number like this? We've had some of the workshops in Southern Illinois do this. They now employ, one of them employs 70% less employees now that they've had to go to minimum wage. The lower portion of these workers are now unemployable anywhere else probably for the rest of their lives. There's nowhere else for them to go. This was their job. It's been taken away from them. So this legislation may also have unintended consequences for workers receiving the supplemental security income or their Social Security disability insurance. A percentage of their supplemental income could be reduced if they take the minimum wage job, and if a worker quits or loses that job, they will have to start over with the Social Security Administration and the federal government to get their benefits reinstated. Right now, that takes typically 6 to 9 months that they'd have maybe no income. Another concern is the employees with developmental intellectual disabilities that are at the workshop and guardians may have to resort to going ahead and finding somebody to take care of their loved one during the day while they're at work because they're no longer going to workshop. Adult daycare costs about $1,885 a month in the state of Illinois. So these workers that now are unemployable will need to have, the families will have to find them a place, somebody to be with them during the day. So that's an extra cost to the families. House Bill 793 would also put service providers out of work because they can't afford to pay a minimum wage to workers with developmental and intellectual disabilities. This bill does not help service providers pick up these extra costs if the legislation as written were to become law. There's only the possibility of grants, no guarantees in the state budget that this money would go to help pay the minimum wage. House Bill 793 would raise the minimum wage for people with disabilities. Sounds wonderful. But the problem is for a 14C workshop, this legislation will probably cost the jobs of half the people. It's very important that we work on this bill. We make some changes. We keep everybody with their job and maintain the chance of having a job. We have an amendment, House Amendment 2 to this bill, which would help do that. We hope that we can go back and negotiate this out. 14C workshops throughout Illinois help people with disabilities, whether it's managing their money with their paychecks or getting them a job. They provide transportation for them. They make sure they get their medicine when they're supposed to have it. Many of our workshops have SILAs, so they have their housing for them where they're safe and they're cared for well. They work with our people with disabilities to make sure they have every chance at having the best life that they truly can. Our workshops are truly a service provider to the state of Illinois. Again, we are here to protect the jobs of our residents with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's their job, it should be their choice. I like telling the story of the one gal that I was talking with. She told me how hard she worked at work that day. She loved her job. She loved the workers that are there with her. They are her friends. And if you go there like at lunchtime, it's like a high school cafeteria. If you walk in there while they're working, they get up, they go around, there's no deadlines, there's no production quotas. They get to do what they want. But she said, I love my job, but I really worked hard today. But I really love my job. And I said, well, you polish shoes, don't you? Yeah. I said, well, how many pairs of shoes did you do today? Oh, I really worked hard. I did 3 pairs of shoes today. Now, how are you going to pay her minimum wage for 6 hours a day to polish 3 pairs of shoes and be able to still pick her up, take her home after work? And a factory, I listened to the people promoting this bill talk about working at Walmart and TJ Maxx. In my district, I have 1 Walmart, no TJ Maxxes. The small towns throughout central and southern Illinois do not have the jobs that we can get these people into. And the trainers that work with them. The state's cut budgets for that too. So we don't even have as many people there. We had 35 workshops respond to our questions on this. 33 of them are against this bill. It is not agreed upon bill. It never should have been promoted as agreed upon. And these residents and workers, parents here today are here as proof. So if you want to ask them questions afterwards, you can. I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Katie Stewart, now, and let her talk.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlie. We're so lucky to have an advocate like you, always working on these issues. And we all know that you are so passionate about this. And thank you for pulling me in because I have the same concerns for residents and families in my areas. I'm Katie Stewart. I'm the state representative in the 112th District, which comprises parts of Madison County and parts of St. Clair County as well. I'm here. This is a show of bipartisan, you might say regional support with my colleagues, State Rep Charlie Meier and State Rep Dave Severin. There are lots of other colleagues who are also in support. This is a small room. We're joined with representation from the 14C workshops, the workers and their families. I wish they could all fit in this room with us so you could really see the support that we have for this.
You can hear them.
The proponents of House Bill 793 have been touting their legislation as agreed legislation. I've gotten outreach telling me it's agreed legislation. They're calling it the Dignity and Pay Act, and I'm here to counter that narrative. The bill is not agreed, as Charlie pointed to. When 33 out of 35 providers are not in agreement, that's not agreed. You can see everyone who's here. They can attest to the fact that the opportunities that they provide for people with disabilities will vanish. This is true all across the southwestern region of the state where I represent, but it's true across all regions of the state. They claim that there's support for the providers to meet the aims of their bill, but it's not included in the legislation the way that it's written currently. Providers can't rely on grant funding that may or may not come through year after year, that they may or may not qualify for year after year, or that may not be appropriated year after year. What everyone who is with us here today and everyone in the hallway is asking for is dignity in work. They're supported. Individuals are supported with transportation and job coaches, some physical accommodations, medical treatment, modified work schedules. They will lose the opportunity to do these jobs that they love, the jobs that really fill them with purpose. I really appreciate the employers in my area who forge relationships with providers like Community Link. They're willing to provide these opportunities for individuals without rigorous daily quotas, a requirement of minimum hours of 20 hours a week. I've toured the facilities where the individuals work. I've seen the pride in the work they do, whether they put together 5 pieces, 15 pieces, or 55 pieces a day. I've seen the joy in working with their fellow coworkers and friends who they would not see outside of these working experiences. I really worry about the future of the people who will lose their opportunities. I worry about having them just languish with no purpose, no reason to get up out of bed and to do something productive and something that fills them with a sense of pride every day. I'm really hoping that my colleagues on both sides of the aisle will really listen to the guests who took the time to come here today, who are wanting to talk to everybody. Think about what their shirts say. It's my work and it's my choice. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Dave Severin, Representative Dave Severin.
So I'm State Representative Dave Severin from the 116th, and having worked in the nursing home facility that we had ICF, DD, and MI residents back from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and so participated working in the facility, working with residents and the clients and the workshops. And there's one component of this that we haven't talked about today that I want to share with you. In talking with the workshops in Southern Illinois, they said, you know, not only does this impact the people that are working now, but it prohibits those that want to come and that would qualify and would come to a workshop to work. It's going to prohibit them from having the opportunities that you all that are standing out in the hallway have today. So not only does it impact the people that are working now, but those young people that are coming out of schools that are qualifying for opportunities to come to workshops and those types of facilities. It prohibits them the opportunity to have a job if in fact this is instituted. So I just wanted to share that. So it not only affects the people that are working now, but also the potential for those that would qualify in the future. So this is a very important issue, and we need to stand firm across both sides of the aisle. And again, it's my work, my choice today, and from this point on, thank you very much.
Before our next speaker, I want to point one thing out. Our schools now are doing far better job working with our people with disabilities. But when you look at our workers here today, a lot of them are older. They don't have those chances. This is their chance for dignity and pay. They're proud of that check. Some of these residents can't tell you the difference between $1 and a $100 bill, but they got a paycheck, and you like your paycheck, don't you, David? Yeah. So our next speaker is John Hillscamp from Community Link and the director of it.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is John Hillscamp. I'm the executive director for Community Link. We're an organization whose mission is to offer opportunities for independence and growth for persons with developmental disabilities. We conduct this mission by offering community day service programs to over 200 adults with developmental disabilities, and we also have 8 residential CILA, Community Integrated Living Associations, residential homes throughout our community in Clinton County and St. Clair County in Southern Illinois. The reason that some of our participants, families, staff, and community members are here with us today is to advocate against the passage of House Bill 793, also known as the Dignity and Pay Act. While this bill is well-intentioned, it is significantly flawed and undercooked as it is currently constructed. While proponents of this bill tout positive language such as grant funding, state contract work, and other amenities, the only thing assured in this bill is the state of Illinois eliminating the 14C sub-minimum wage program by no later than June 30th, 2027. All the amenities within the bill are subject to funding appropriations by future Illinois legislators. Nothing is assured. People with developmental disabilities and organizations like Community Link have numerous examples where the funding has not matched the promises of support in previous itinerations of bills. That's why I am advocating for a fund first, eliminate last method of approaching this situation. Passing this bill without the assurance of funding will simply be taking a choice away from individuals like David here to my right and leaving a gap in services. This bill does not delineate between disabilities and developmental and intellectual disabilities as far as the scope of significance for supports needed for community employment. It also does not take into account, as Representative Meier indicated, the age of our participants. Community Link is current demographics is 1 out of every 2 of our participants that we support in our day program through sub-minimum wage, piece rate assembly work is 50 years or older, which means many individuals like David want to continue to work for the next 15 to 20 years of what they're comfortable in and what they know and what they've been proud of. And we're all proud of what we do for the last 50 to 60 years, and we want to continue that. David did not have the same opportunities in school that younger individuals have today that are entering the field. It doesn't mean that there's a whole exciting world out there for technology and other supports.
Ain't no jobs out there either.
But right now, it is very challenging for individuals that we support to be able to pivot to a community. Charlie and Katie, both, Representative Stewart and Meier, did indicate that we also have regionality concerns with this bill. The same opportunities in Springfield and in specifically Chicago are not the same opportunities in Southern Illinois. Can we do better? With funding, yes, but right now, it would be very challenging.
Yep.
The last thing I want to make a point of is that this focus of this bill is dignity and pay. But I think everybody up here acknowledges that dignity of work is everybody you see out here, dignity of work is the primary focus, and that's what we must maintain our focus on. We ask that Illinois, thank you. We ask that Illinois consider funding first, eliminating last, before undoing a system that has been successfully employing persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities for over a half a century. Thank you.
I think David needs to say.
And David's going to talk to us next, so.
Well, you guys, I'm recommending
You can do it, Penny. What you gonna tell him?
keep your jobs.
Yeah. David, I've known David a long time. My brother Mark could have come today. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My brother Mark works at Community Link along with David.
Yeah.
And he could have came today, but he chose to stay and work. And what'd you tell me before you came? What about your work?
You gotta keep it.
And what?
It ain't gonna take away either. I've been fighting your hands.
Thank
I'll
you,
do
David.
it. I'll do it. I guarantee.
Thank you, buddy.